pleased to bring in now our first guest. It is Professor Emeritus at Harvard Law School, Alan Dershowitz. He has a brand new best-selling book out. It is called The 10 Anti-Israel Lies and How to Refute Them with Truth. Professor Dershowitz, always a pleasure, and congratulations on another bestseller. Looks like a fantastic read.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the situation with Netanyahu and what's happening in the Middle East, but I want to get your reaction to President Biden commuting the sentences. This is just federal. Incoming President Donald Trump will have no recourse. This is final, but it is something he campaigned on, Biden, that is, to get rid of the death penalty.
Look, I oppose the death penalty, so I've been opposing it since I was a law clerk, even before that in 1962. So I'm pleased. Now, the criteria seems strange. Why he allows Tsarnaev to be executed. He was a very young man, deeply influenced by his older brother who was killed. And yet he commutes the sentence of merciless cop killers and children killers. You know, the clemency power of the Constitution really knows no law. It's completely discretionary. And I suspect Biden did this only because the Boston Marathon killing was such a high profile, high visibility case. But there's no rational reason for allowing Tsarnaev to go to his death and not allowing these merciless cop killers and baby killers to spend the rest of their lives in prison. It's just, you know, I understand it, but I can't justify it.
Do you think we'll see also some more pardons? We've talked about this after Hunter Biden's pardon came down. There's still a few more weeks. Joe Biden's been kind of invisible as Donald Trump has taken the lead on so many issues. But are you still kind of in the next few weeks looking of some more, you know, Biden pardons that we'll be reacting to, perhaps of his family members, Professor Dershowitz?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see commutations. Mostly we haven't seen pardons. None of these on death row were pardoned. The sentence was commuted from death to possibility of parole. I don't think we're going to see preemptive pardons of people that Trump might go after. I think that would be very much criticized. I think what we're going to see, I hope we're going to see, is pardons of the kind that President Trump gave when he was president, of people who suffered what's called the trial penalty, people who were offered 5 years in prison if they pleaded guilty, and then they got 50 or 60 years of prison if they refused to plead guilty. So the vast majority of their sentence was based not on the crime they were allegedly convicted of, but on their refusal to plead guilty. Those are the kinds of principled commutations that President Trump did in the last days of his term. And I'm hoping that Biden will continue to give principled commutations to people whose sentences are too long based on their refusal to plead guilty.
Well, we'll be looking out for all of that, commutations or pardons, as you mentioned. They are very different. Let's talk about Luigi Mangione, the suspected killer of the CEO. He was facing a judge. They kind of separated the charges. There's state, there's federal. His attorney, Karen Friedman Angiofilo, says she's concerned about him getting a fair trial. You know, he's been paraded around, too, with all this armed security, and he still kind of oddly has a very cool composure to all of this. What strikes you the most about how they are charging him, Professor Dershowitz, especially adding on that terrorism charge?
Well, the reason for adding the terrorism charge is because they want to blunt his insanity defense. If they have a terrorism charge, they can show that he killed this person consistent with his political ideology, not some insanity. And look, Mangione has a strange case. On Saturday Night Live, these young people were cheering him, and people are cheering him in the street. You know, people say all the time, oh, young people, young people. These are the same people who cheer on Hamas. These are the same people who in Nazi Germany supported Hitler and supported Stalin and Pol Pot. Don't forgive 18, 19, 20-year-old useful idiots who make a hero out of Mangione and make a hero out of Hamas. They should be condemned by the verdict of history and should be condemned today by all rational people. So Mangione has the virtues and vices of being a hero to some, horrible villain to others, and very hard to get a fair trial when you have jurors who have extreme views before they even hear one word of evidence. So I think his lawyer, who's an excellent lawyer, has a good argument that there should be actions taken to prevent him from being either a hero or a villain before trial. Let's hear what the evidence comes out. Let's hear if he pleads insanity. Let's hear if there are arguments that show that maybe he did get a mental illness after he had that surgery on his shoulder, I think it was, some months before he changed from a top Ivy League student into a premeditated killer. We need to have an explanation for that.
Well, no doubt it will be a fascinating case as it goes forward. She calls the perp walks that are staged unconstitutional. We'll see if they tailor his coming and goings. And we'll also see, obviously, as you talk about the evidence and the video, which appears, if it is him, showing him executing the CEO and how that plays into all of this. Let's turn to the Middle East, as you were just referring to some of the students there who cheer on Hamas and that they should not get a pass. We also have this terrible story where Poland says it will actually arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he comes to Auschwitz and for the anniversary. Why would they do that? Why would they threaten him? And what does his absence on the event, the liberation anniversary, do to the optics and to the people of Israel?
Well, it's interesting. The Polish authorities threatened to arrest me when I spoke at Jagiellonian University about 10 years ago at an Auschwitz commemoration as well, because I deliberately violated law. Poland passed a law that says if anybody says that Polish people were complicit in the Holocaust, they commit a crime. I stood up with my hands ready to be handcuffed and said, I hereby declare that many Polish people were complicit, many Polish people were heroes, but many Polish people, including many Polish priests, were complicit in the Holocaust, and they have to be blamed for it. Look, I think the United States should boycott this memorial of Auschwitz. I think every Jew should boycott it. I think every decent person should boycott it. The idea that the prime minister of the only Jewish state is not allowed to attend the commemoration of Auschwitz is a despicable reflection on Poland, which has a despicable history during the Holocaust. And so the United States should not send a delegation. Israel should not allow President Herzog to go there in the place of Netanyahu, and no decent person should attend this commemoration. Israel should have a commemoration of the freeing of Auschwitz in Jerusalem and let them invite the prime minister of Poland and anybody else to come. But no Jew should set foot in Poland when the prime minister of Israel is not allowed to set foot there.
Incredible. That sidebar you just mentioned, too, of your own personal story is fascinating. Just real quickly, if you had been arrested, I'm just curious, who would Alan Dershowitz hire as a defense attorney?
I would have put together the greatest team of lawyers from around the world to defend me for telling the truth, or I would have defended myself. It would have been an easy case to prove by video how many Polish people were complicit in Auschwitz, in Treblinka, in Belsenbergen. So many of my own family were murdered in these death camps that I'm proud to repeat the fact that many Polish people were heroes, righteous Gentiles, but too many were complicit.
Yes. Professor Dershowitz, always a pleasure. And again, your new book is out. People can get it right now. It should be a fantastic read. And I hope to see you back here soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah.
Yes, happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. Thank you. The head of Israel's Mossad spy agency has reportedly recommended that Israel launch strikes against Iran in response to the Houthis' ballistic missile attacks that injured more than a dozen people in Tel Aviv. Let's get out to our Middle East correspondent Jody Cohen with the latest.
Hi there. The Houthis have repeatedly fired ballistic missiles at Israel over the past year. 2 of these hit civilian areas near Tel Aviv in the past week alone, injuring 16 people. Israel holds Iran primarily responsible for these attacks, suggesting Iran is directing and arming its proxy in Yemen. Senior security sources told Israel's Channel 13 that Barnea recommended Israel needs to target the head, and striking only the Houthis won't be enough. Iran's supreme leader appears to be nervous, issuing a statement suggesting that its partners are driven by their own beliefs and are not controlled by Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu indicated that Israel would be stepping up its campaign against the Houthis. He said Israel is not acting alone and that the US and other countries also see the Houthis as a threat to world shipping and to the world order. Israel and America both confirmed they have been striking Houthi targets in Yemen, including missile storage facilities and command centers. Meanwhile, President Trump's pick for National Security Advisor Mike Waltz vowed that President Trump would redesignate the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. Waltz suggested Iran's air defenses have been left exposed after Israel's responses to Iran's direct attacks. He suggested Iran now has a choice to rush towards a nuke or not provoke the Israelis. And Israel and America have indicated that they are going to be watching next moves very closely. Back to you in the studio.